depending on what sort of autoimmune issue that you have, and depending on how well that's being treated with your diet, I would strongly recommend being on a strict red meat and water diet, the ruminant animal meat and water diet, so like a lion diet, and then see how you go. If you're a few months in, say if you have Crohn's or something like that, and if you have a few months in and you're not having any flare-ups and you're feeling great, that's a reasonable time to start thinking about coming off of those sorts of infusions. Work with your doctor, but that is something that people have been able to do, especially with things like Crohn's. I've even seen it with multiple sclerosis and many other sorts of autoimmune issues. But if you're still having bits of flare-up like that, then definitely not the right time to think about coming off the medication.
Yeah, I'll just add, as Anthony was saying, Tysabri is an autoimmune modulating drug typically used for Crohn's disease. But it is important to not just cold turkey quit a lot of these drugs, and because they can set you back significantly to the point where maybe it precipitates some sort of surgical treatment, which we otherwise could avoid. At Rivero, that is what we do. We literally have physicians that are trained to help people come off these medications. So however you decide to do that, it's not bad to come off these drugs, and obviously preferable. These drugs, side effects include increased rates of infection, increased rates of cancers, so on and so forth. So it's great to get off them if you can, but just be careful how you do it, and definitely involve some sort of physician intervention.
Dante, did you want to add to this?
Oh, no, I didn't have anything for this one. I'm sorry.
No worries, just checking. Okay, we'll go on. Okay. IBSD 25 years, carnivore 5 years, lion diet 29 days plus iodine. Pain is gone, but diarrhea persists. Doctors, nurse practitioners, GI doctors, unhelpful. Suggestions, Dante?
29 days plus iodine. Well, first of all, have you tested to see if you needed iodine? But I don't think that's going to be a huge one. Let's see, diarrhea persisting. It could depend on how strict you're being with lion diet. I noticed that if I cheat just a little bit, that I'll go back to what we call keto flu, or, a polite way of saying having diarrhea, basically, in my opinion. Because anytime that I have something that I shouldn't, it triggers that, and it could last for weeks. So if you're giving yourself a treat once every 2 weeks or once a week or once every 3 weeks or anything like that, it could keep you in that mode for a long period of time.
You also want to check with your healthcare provider, make sure you don't have a gastroenteritis, colitis, and something else that may be causing persistent diarrhea. So we can't ignore that. You may have a gastritis, need antibiotic, but get checked also.
Great. This is from Andrew. I travel around the country every week and thought it would be difficult finding carnivorous options. After 2 years of carnivore, it is actually easy. What is everyone's go-to location to get carnivore meals, and what is it?
Well, I mean, I always try to keep it, from like a grocery store, getting like whole meats and things like that. And even like going camping, I'll just get steaks and cut them up into little cubes and use that as on a stick, and those are my marshmallows, and I just sort of roast them over a fire. It's great. It's fantastic. I've even had like long road trips where I didn't have a chance to cook, where I just get like a whole ham and some butter, and just like slices of ham and butter, and that works well as well. And even just raw meat. But as far as like stopping by stores and things like that, sometimes you can go to even fast food places and just get burger patties. I do that a lot in airports when I'm traveling all over the place, and that's really my only access. Just get a stack of burger patties just on their own, and just eat those. So whatever's sort of available in that sense. And other times I just don't eat. If there's not something that I want to eat I don't think is good for me, I just don't eat. It's it's not that I'm fasting, but it's like I don't have to eat. I'm not starving, and so if there's nothing around me that I think is good for me, I just won't eat, and it's not that big of a deal. And I get to a point where a place where I can eat and I eat something better, and I just like catch up. Then it's not that big a deal.
Dante, and then Dr. Ovadia, and then we'll go down the table. Go ahead.
When it comes to eating out, my best suggestion is just to avoid it if you can, but it's not always easy. And like Dr. Chafee said, one of the things that I try to do is if I have to eat out, I'd prefer not to eat. But there are times when I've stopped by McDonald's or someplace like that. But then, there's other things that are in the meats that they use at these places, like they're finding high amounts of microplastics. So it's you got to get picky about it. I think Five Guys is probably one of your better options for meat, as long as they're not using any oil on the meat. And I understand that they do not. Also, be careful when you eat out. Most of the time, the meat, when I get it from places like McDonald's, they don't use enough salt, first of all, to give it any flavor. For some reason, it just tastes bland. And the salt that you get when you go out has almost always has dextrose in it. I thought it was a rare thing when I first heard it was Dr. Saladino talking about the fact that McDonald's had dextrose in their salt. And I thought, well, why in the world would they do that? They claim to use it as an anti-caking agent. And then I started looking at other salts in other places like Circle K and convenience stores where I might want to grab some. They had dextrose. Look at a bottle of Morton salt, has dextrose. So you want to carry some good salt with you if you're going to be eating meat out. And just tell them to cook it without any seasoning. You'll add your own.
Awesome. Dr. O?
Yeah, as someone who travels a lot, certainly deal with this. I agree with what Anthony said. Sometimes fasting or just not eating, becomes the best option. And of course, this is probably a good time for a plug for our sponsor today, some Carnivore crisps. Plenty of options, meat sticks that you can find that are clean. Hard-boiled eggs, will keep well for travel purposes, needing some stuff on the road. So lots of great options. I agree with you. It really isn't that challenging. You can always go to the burger place. You can always find a steak place, and just look for the options that are around you.
Yeah, not too much, different to add here. I think that just one thing, this one tip, if you go to a burger place, just establish before you pay what the burger patties cost. Like you ask them if they'll sell extra burger patties. You can tell them it's for your dog, and they'll often give you a better price. Don't get roped in paying for a whole burger when you're just getting a burger patty. It should literally cost you half as much. So, like, I go to Wendy's a lot. I just think they're pretty good nationally. I usually pay anywhere between $1.29 and $1.79 for a burger patty, for a quarter-pound burger patty. So don't settle for anything higher than that. You can even call them ahead of time. I've done that. I've called them and asked if they'll sell burger patties individually, and I'll ask them the price. And tell them it's for your dog. And because, then you just tell them you want 10 of them. Your dog's real hungry.
I prefer to eat at home. If I'm traveling, I often will take the opportunity not to eat for a day or two, and especially when you're traveling on airplanes and hotels. And I think fasting, and think about hunting however many years ago, and you weren't finding your hunt for a few days, maybe a week. And so I think we're built to fast more, and that's one of the best things I think we can do.
My advice is to be prepared. My friend Bill Knott says, prepare, prepare, prepare. So I've been doing a lot of traveling for the documentary, and we'll make up like a big power bowl, we call it. It's scrambled eggs with ground beef and bacon all scrambled together. We'll bring that with, and it's great cold. Otherwise, I'll just hit fast food and get the burger patties.
Yeah, there's not much I can add here. The 18-hour drive here to Hack Your Health, I actually packed some sliced ribeyes and put them in a cooler and just ate that on the way. And when I ran out of those, shout out to my wife. She actually told me about a discount that you can get at McDonald's, actually, and I never thought I'd download the McDonald's app. So if you download the McDonald's app, you can actually get 20% off any order over $5 every single day. So that's part of what you can do to kind of hack your budget, if you will.
Go ahead, Lindy.
Well, I just flew over from Australia and I fasted. It's more about the experience, getting on the plane and just enjoying the scenery, the people. The food smelled terrible anyway. Didn't look appealing at all to me. And yeah, I was able to just fast and not worry about it. So, yeah, fasting for me.
Well, when I flew here to Texas, I just fasted because that was the best thing. But other than that, I just like taking like ribeye jerky or carnivore crisp. You know, they seem to do the best. Just little thing to tide you over. But really, I just when I'm traveling or I'm on the go, I plan on I just always plan a faster on it because it's just so much easier. So.
Yeah, if I'm not fasting, I'll just pack frozen sticks of butter. It's just super easy, pure energy for me, and it's delicious. It keeps me full. I don't really have to eat a lot, so I can also save money. And if I do want to eat at restaurants, I like to go to Buffalo Wild Wings because they do cook all of their chicken wings in only beef tallow. They don't use seed oils. I've triple checked, called them. It's only beef tallow. So you can get their plain chicken wings with no seasonings, no salt, or you can add salt.
Necessarily substantiated with experimental data or even observational data, long-term observational data, and so just that best guess at the time when people were doing the best that they could at the time with the information they had available, that stuck around. And then we just repeat these things ad nauseum, and we just, well, everyone knows this. Everyone knows that more protein makes your kidneys get damaged, and yet when people do the studies, they find that kidney function actually tends to